Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing another gardening vlog, but in this video I'm going to be attempting my best to transplant these bush beans that I planted in my last video. So after posting my last video, I got a lot of helpful feedback on how I could improve my planting method and also maybe whatever mistakes that I kind of made when trying to attempt to plant these bush beans and tomatoes. So one of the best pieces of advice was to make sure that the beans were getting the proper amount of sunlight and actually being directly in the sun. And as a result of me just having it on the patio, you can see that the bean stems are very leggy. So it's like they are searching for the sun. So that was one of the main issues that I've been having. Instead of them growing like an actual bush, they're more so like little leggy stalks. Also, with using the big bucket that I have, it kind of messes up the process of the beans growing properly since they need to be spaced out a lot more. So here I am remedying the situation by trying to transplant these beans into a much better and a little bit more spacious container in the hopes that they grow better properly. So first off, I decided to get the soil a little damp so it'll be easier to transplant. So this time I decided to get some items from Lowe's, and as you can see right here, I got this rectangular planter that I'm going to transplant the beans in, and I figured it'd be more suitable for it, so now I can kind of space them out a bit more and put them in rows. I also decided to drill a few more holes in the container so I can get the proper drainage for the plants.
Did you ever fool me? Would you ever picture us? Every time I pull my hair, where's any outfit? You'll find me ugly and one day you'll disappear. Cause what's the point of crying? It was never even enough. Did you ever want me? Was I ever good enough? But boys are liar. But boys are liar. He doesn't see her. You're not looking at me, boy. But boys are liar. But boys are liar. He doesn't see her. You're not looking at me, boy.
So after drilling some more drainage holes, I then decided to go in and fill up the planter midway with some of my organic soil that I have.
Think about me cause he know that it's fact. And it been what it been. Calling his phone like you'll send me a pin. Ducking my shit cause he know what I'm on. But when he hear me, I'm not gonna respond. But I don't sleep enough without you. And I can't eat enough without you. If you don't speak, does that mean we're through? Don't like sneaky shit that you do.
So this time around, I wanted to make sure that my soil had all the nutrients that it needed. So I went ahead and bought this black velvet mushroom compost to add to it so it can get all the nutrients into it. I ended up getting a great deal on this compost. It was a big 40-pound bag for only $6 right at Lowe's. So here I am adding a layer of compost to the soil and just mixing it all up together. And I decided to just top off the container with just a little bit more of the soil. Okay, so now that all the soil and compost has been put in, I decided to just eyeball it and kind of make a couple little holes, map out the holes where I'm gonna probably add some of the bush bean stalks too. I decided to just do a few rows in the container to give it just as much space as possible. Okay, so now it's time for me to transplant these bush beans into the container. Now as I'm doing this, I'm finding a couple little pests, little leaf-eating caterpillars in it, so I'm trying to pick them out of it and get it out before I try to transplant it to the new pot. And these leaf-eating caterpillars have been just a really big problem in me trying to grow these bush beans. Now I tried before to kind of get rid of them once I first saw them with some neem oil, but I don't think that actually worked. I actually think it did more harm than good, kind of scorched the leaves a little bit, and you'll see in the result.
You moved on to whoever. I was down for whatever, and then some. You gon' make me late to work again. Better day than yesterday. Ooh, I just take it day by day. Ooh, never hearing what they say. Ooh, I just do it my way.
Okay, so now after trying to fight off as many caterpillars as I could, I'm now about to try to transplant these bush beans into this new container. Okay, so now as I'm trying to transplant it, I'm trying to dig deep enough to try to get to the root system and not to damage the roots too much. And y'all, as I'm digging, I see the soil is dry. I'm realizing that all this time that I've been trying to water this plant, only the top layer of the soil has been getting any moisture. Anything past that has just been bone dry. And as you can see, all this time, that's what's probably been causing these leaves to turn yellow. So at this point, with the problem with it getting sunlight and the pests and now the moisture, it's just looking like I'm gonna need a miracle to try to save these bush beans. So I'm gonna try my best. So now I'm just like, forget the holes that I made earlier. I had to make some bigger ones to kind of put the root system into the containers with each bushel that I'm getting out of this plant here. So since I was able to get the first little bushel in there, now I'm just going to do the same for the rest. So I'm trying to plant each little bushel of the beans as deep as possible, enough soil so that it's able to kind of support the leggy stems that it has, so it doesn't kind of lean over a little too much. And it's kind of just not at its best right now. I'm just gonna say that. Now, as I'm transplanting, I'm just realizing that like the root system was just all not that together how it should have been. So now I'm just adding just a little bit more compost and soil just to give the plants just a little bit more support so that they're not all leaning over in the container. And I realized that my tomatoes that I had in here, it just was not working out either. So I was like, look, I'm just going to start all over. So I just added some compost to the soil mixture so that if I want to plant something new, I can just start it over in there, have a good fresh start. Alright, so now that everything has been transplanted and more soil has been added, I decided to kind of spray off the pavement a bit, but also give each plant a little bit more moisture so it can have in there. And now I'm just mixing up the soil in this big bucket so that all the moisture is getting all throughout it this time and not just that top layer. So I'm learning from my mistakes from the first time. Now to try to get rid of some of the pests that's been coming on my bush bean plants, I decided to go ahead on and just get the garden dust, which I just sprayed around it in hopes that it can repel these caterpillars. Alright, so now I'm placing my container of bush beans in a nice, well-lit, sunny area. Hopefully it can prevent them from still being kind of leggy. And after just 24 hours, y'all, this is the result. These beans are just scorched and dry. I think I'm going to have to stick to an easier plant, okay? So thank you guys for watching my attempt in this garden. Next time, hopefully I have some better results.